Hey everybody, Dustin Dale's back here once again. I'm at the Funny Bone Comedy Club, 168th and Dodge, right upstairs, the Village Point Mall, back by the theater. You're not going to miss it. It's a great venue, all sorts of great comedy acts coming through town, and this weekend we got another one. His name is Mark Cordes. So much stuff to talk about with this guy. Please welcome him to Omaha. How you doing, bud?
Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks, Dustin. Pleasure to be here.
No, well, I'm glad to have you, man. I'm glad to have you.
And you're right. The Funny Bone's awesome. It's a great location and great club, and you should be here right now instead of watching this.
That's right. Shut the computer off and get to the club.
Exactly.
Have you been to all the Funny Bones around the country?
Yeah, well, I don't think they keep opening them, so I don't think I've been to all of them, but I've been to most of them, and they're always well run. But I tell you what, the Omaha Funny Bone's one of the top 5 or 6 clubs in the country.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot, so I'm glad.
A lot of it has to do with you and your interviewing skills.
Well, that's sweet of you to say. I'm sure you're lying out off your butt.
I have no idea at this point.
Well, one thing that I found really interesting, and I have to talk about this because I just got married.
Yes, you did.
You have a nickname that has to do with couples.
Well, you know what? A couple of years ago, I sat down and I kind of got on the computer and I printed out all the material that I have, and I realized about 80% of it was about relationships. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, I should just do a one-man show about that. And so I called myself the Spouse Whisperer, and that's what I've been doing, going around the country and doing. I don't do many clubs these days. I kind of go and do theaters and do a one-man show, and it's a lot of fun. And I have found that people of all ages are fascinated by what makes relationships work or not, or how to make yours better, how to get out of a bad one. And so it's a lot of fun. If people are in a relationship or have ever been in one, they find the material a lot of fun, and they might even learn something.
So what kind of stuff, is it kind of thing where they pitch ideas, they pitch problems or questions to you, and then you kind of answer them?
I do material on the front end, and then we typically take an intermission in a theater, and then I have these little comment cards that they can ask a question about, and I get 50 or 60 questions every night, and the last 30 minutes of the show is me just riffing on that, pulling out a question, and it's hilarious. The questions I get are absolutely hilarious. I got one the other night from a lady. Her question was 4 words. It says, "Can he taste arsenic?" And I think that might be they might be having problems. But so we have a little bit of fun with that, and it's all based in humor. I'm not Dr. Phil or don't pretend to be, but I've got the hairline. But we have fun with it, and we make them laugh, and everybody walks out of there feeling like, hey, you know what, honey, we're not the only ones with a screwed up relationship. It sounds like other couples are too. I think another couple just walked by arguing.
I think you're right. They're yelling at each other. They need the Spouse Whisperer right now.
That's right.
I just got married. What's the one piece of advice you would give me as a freshly married, not even 7 days at this point?
What are you doing?
Literally last weekend.
What are you doing here? Where well, is this a honeymoon? Omaha?
The honeymoon is next year. We're kind of doing that as a 1 year.
Good for you. You know what? Just have fun and try and laugh. I mean, it sounds corny, and especially coming from a comedian. Of course, I'm going to push the comedy point. But I see so many couples that argue about stuff that just doesn't matter, and if you just have fun and try and see the humor and everything. My wife's the funniest person I know, and I work with comedians, but we make each other laugh, and I think that's just having a good attitude of being realistic. Mm-hmm. Your wife knows what you are already. But a lot of times people have their eyes closed when they're dating because everybody's putting on their best foot forward. I had a lady the other night say, all my husband wants to do is lay on the couch, watch sports, and eat junk food and drink beer. And I said, well, where did you meet him? And she said, sports bar. And I'm like, well, duh. He was showing you then what he is, but people just don't want to see it. So have fun. Find the humor and thing, and just, you know what, nobody gets out of this thing alive. Have a little bit of fun and lighten up a little bit.
That's a good point. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's hard to remember something, but you're young. You'll go through all that.
I'm young. That's right. That's right. Now, you're also from the Midwest. You're actually from Kansas City, right?
I'm born and raised in Kansas City. I went to Mizzou back when it was a real college before it became a politically correct safe spaces. And, everybody was paranoid. But anyway, I love Kansas City. I love the Midwest. I think the best people in the country live here. The weather sucks for me, so... Mm-hmm. 34 years ago, I went out to visit in Arizona, and I went, wow, this is kind of awesome, and moved out there and don't regret it. I still get to see all the weather in the country by traveling and touring, but that's my home base, and I love it. You know who just moved there? He's about a half a mile away from me.
Who's that?
Larry the Cable Guy just bought a house by me.
Oh, really?
Now, his is got a different price tag than mine, but...
I would imagine he's got about 40 of my houses put together.
He's got that Mater money. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a great place to live, and like I say, I get to travel from there. So, 2 weeks ago I was in Alaska where it was 50 degrees. I go back to Arizona, it's 110, and I come here and what's going on?
It's 100 here too.
I rented a car, and the guy was walking me around to make sure that everything was fine with it, and he popped the trunk open, and there's a ice scraper in the trunk. I'm like, that could come in handy this week. Why don't you throw in some snowshoes and a parka?
Very true.
Yeah, but anyway.
So the Royals, they were doing pretty good last couple of seasons. What are your thoughts on this season's baseball?
Well, you know what? Going in as we speak, they're tied for first. Now, 5 years ago, people would be going crazy over that, and now they've set the bar pretty high, and so people are like, "What's wrong with the Royals?" I'm like, but yeah, there's a lot of Nebraska influence on that. Alex Gordon is from
he's from
Lincoln.
Right, Lincoln, and then he played here in Omaha for the Storm Chasers for a couple of years, and ever since then he's been Omaha's go-to guy for baseball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the third base coach is I think a Omaha guy. So yeah, I love the Royals, the Chiefs. I'm a big sports fan, and it's I grew up with those teams, so those are my favorites.
See, I'm a Packer guy, so we kind of butt heads there. Well, only like once every couple seasons, though.
Yeah, well, there's you're a cheesehead. Are you from there?
I'm not from there, but growing up, here in Nebraska, we don't technically have a team, so I just kind of always grew towards Favre, and I didn't follow him when he went to the Vikings or the Jets or anything. But
okay, so you follow the leaders. Packers were good, the Chiefs weren't, so you became a Packer fan.
But I stuck with them even through some of the bad years.
I understand. The Chiefs have had so many bad years.
Chiefs have had a lot of bad years, but
true story. There's a great sports bar in Scottsdale, Arizona, where I live, and I don't have the NFL package or anything, so sometimes I'll go in there and watch Chiefs games. And a couple of years ago, when they were really bad, I go in and all the games are on, and I'm looking around. I can't find the Chiefs game on any of the big screens. And I'm like, wow, I wonder where the Chiefs are. I got to go to the bathroom. And I go in the bathroom, and there's screens over the urinals. The Chiefs game was on over a urinal. I'm like, is that appropriate or what? If I want to watch the Chiefs, I got to stand at a urinal and watch the Chiefs play. So.
That's what you got to do. It seems like these days.
Yeah, but they'll be okay this year.
They'll be all right. They'll be all right. And then I also noticed that you're a bit of a roaster every now and again. And the Comedy Central just announced their latest roast. It's going to be Rob Lowe next.
Wow.
I don't know. I can't remember if it's this year or at the beginning of next year. But Rob Lowe's their next one. What are your thoughts on old Rob Lowe?
Well, I mean, he'd be kind of easy to roast in that he had a lot of skeletons in his closet years ago. But I think now he's pretty prim and proper and, happily married and clean and sober. And those are hard guys to roast. It's a lot easier to roast Charlie Sheen than Rob Lowe. But that'll be cool. I hadn't heard that. But, yeah, roasts are fun. But it all depends on the roastee, on how much material there is.
That's true.
But, yeah, that'll be good. They'll do a good job.
Well, his name is Mark Cordes. He's going to be in town all weekend long. Make sure you come check him out. Funny Bone Comedy Club, 168th and Dodge, right upstairs, right up by the movie theater. You can't miss it. Make sure you come check it out all weekend long. Mark, thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Can I mention one thing?
Yeah.
The air conditioning is cranking in this place. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The beers are cold. The air conditioning's colder. They got good food. It's a great show. I'm working with a couple of funny guys, so come on down and catch a show. Two Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday, and I'm on the road Sunday night. So,
perfect.
Come on out, Omaha.
Cold beers. I might have to join you for cold beer after the show.
Well, there you go. Let's go.
Make sure you check him out this weekend, all weekend long. Mark Cordes. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
Have yourself a good one.